Russia's invasion of Ukraine gave birth to not one but many crises. One of them is having immediate ramifications, and that is the global food emergency. But a newly signed deal might have the solution. After 2 months of negotiations, Ukrainian and Russian officials agreed to sign the deal in Istanbul. UN Secretary General and Turkiye President were physically present to support the deal. The rival nations, however, refused to sit on the same table to shake hands. Kiev, in fact, said that it will not make any deal with its oppressor and called the agreement a consensus with the United Nations. Nevertheless, both sides signed 2 agreements with the same terms or conditions, the one being Russia will not target ports while shipments are in transit. 2, Ukrainian vessels will guide cargo ships through waters that have been mined. Thirdly, Turkey and the United Nations will inspect ships to ease Russian fears of weapons smuggling. And finally, exports of Russia's grain and fertilizer will also be facilitated via the Black Sea. Sitting kilometers away in Kiev, Ukrainian President Zelensky said that it is now the United Nations' responsibility that everyone fulfills their part of this deal.
І для усіх зрозуміло, що з боку Росії можуть бути якісь там провокації, якісь намагання дискредитувати українські та міжнародні зусилля, але ми довіряємо ООН. Тепер це їх відповідальність і наших міжнародних партнерів гарантувати дотримання домовленості.
Crisis was created in the first place because both Ukraine and Russia are the world's biggest food exporters. So soon after the February invasion, reports say that Russia blocked the Black Sea port, which used to be a gateway for Ukraine to the international market. Since the blockade, about 22 million tons of crops are laying untended to in Ukrainian warehouses. So with another harvest season now approaching, farmers were worried that this will be like a deja vu moment. But the grain deal has given a fair amount of hope. It is set to last for 120 days, which is being seen as enough to transport all the agricultural goods. And if not, it will be renewed without further negotiations. The UN chief has called this agreement a beacon of hope.
Today, there is a beacon on the Black Sea, a beacon of hope, a beacon of possibility, a beacon of relief in a world that needs it more than ever. I want to recognize and thank all those who helped make it happen.
Let's now briefly tell you about the plan on ground. A group of officials will closely monitor the loading of grains in Ukrainian ports. The team will include a coalition of the United Nations, Turkey and Ukraine. There are about 16 ports that will be now made operational. So imagine a situation where a cargo ship needs to transport wheat grain from the Kherson port. There will now be a pre-planned route through the Black Sea, which remains heavily mined by both sides, Kiev and Moscow. The cargo ship will then cross the Black Sea and advance towards the Bosphorus Strait in Turkey. A monitoring center is being set up in Istanbul, which will be staffed by officials from all 4 parties. After being thoroughly checked, the ship will then head towards its final destination. Northern Africa, Europe and West Asia being some of the top importers. Concerns are plenty, however. Moscow is worried that Ukraine might bring back weapons via these ships. And Kiev is concerned about the safety of its grain deliveries to world markets. But for both parties to come on the same page for a deal like this is nothing short of a miracle. But despite these hopeful signs, a wider agreement seems to be a rather remote possibility. In recent days, Moscow has indicated that it might once again be willing to expand its war aims. While in Kiev, there is talk of launching a counter-offensive. So if this deal will translate into a possible peaceful situation in the future, it still remains to be seen. WION World is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.